Greetings from Hopalong Hollow. We had a rather drizzly day, which is a perfect opportunity to film a garden in the rain. It's something I absolutely love because everything looks so green and the earth looks so dark. It's a great contrast, but I wanted to show you how I situated those plants along this front garden bed, the ones that we purchased from the nursery last week, and a few other things. Now some of these were already here. The sage, I had quite a collection of sage here already, but we've added a few pots. Not this one, but here are the lavenders that I purchased again. I also purchased this thrift, Armeria. I had to cut these way down because they were starting to look a little bit weird, so I decided let's start over again, prune them way down, and let them get a second go. Everything else in here was already in the garden back here. Now, we have a sitting goose there in the corner. That's Isadora, and she goes in there every day and lays an egg. That's why I fenced it off a little bit to keep the dog out. Let's take a little peek at Isadora. She does not like me to come too close because she's getting pretty serious about sitting on those eggs. And she has been a mother before, so I hope that she manages to hatch this little clutch that she has. Back there's kind of a wild mess, and that's because it's daylilies and perennial sunflowers, and there's some hollyhocks back there, clematis, honeysuckle, and Rose of Sharon, and I haven't cleaned that part out yet. What I want you to look at isn't that. I want you to look at this part, which is looking pretty good. So what else do we have here? This is going to be a yellow evening primrose. I had some little seeds that I had started in the cold frame, and I up-potted them into this garden. This is Anise Hyssop. That's Pearly Everlasting. This is a penstemon from 2 years ago, and all these plants were here already. More beautiful raspberry-colored sage. I was thrilled to see the dahlias coming back, because I don't dig my dahlias up, I just leave them in the ground. If I dig them up, they just rot. Lots of penstemons. We've got some really early peonies. And here are the other three lavenders. This is a beautiful pink yarrow that I grew last year along with the raspberries, and they grew so beautifully that I dug them all up because I wasn't intending to leave them there. I dug them up and moved 3 of them into this garden. 1, 2, and 1 back there, but I chopped it way down to give it a second chance. There's a dahlia coming up. This will be 3 years this dahlia has been coming up. This is another grouping that I planted from seed, blue sea holly. Just letting them grow a little bit more into this pot. Trying to find the ones that, okay. This is one of the new plants from the nursery, and also these 3 are all from the nursery. There's some snapdragons I planted from seed. Some more peonies. Some more peonies. And here are the pincushion flowers. This is what I wanted to do. I wanted to surround the peonies with the pincushion flowers because of the color. The problem is the peonies will be dropping their petals before these start blooming again. But that's okay. Rose of Sharon, twiglings. Some people hate Rose of Sharon because they say that it drops its seeds everywhere, and that's a fact. In fact, one of the ways that I got my Rose of Sharon, it's right there in that corner, was from a friend of mine. I told her I was looking for Rose of Sharon, and she said, "Are you kidding me? I'll bring you some." She brought some in a pot because they do have babies all over the place. So I just pulled up the babies that I got this time off of my Rose of Sharon. As you can see, some of them don't look so good, but they will. That's one thing about a Rose of Sharon. It knows how to survive. but I'd like to make a Rose of Sharon hedge somewhere in this yard. This is more blue sea holly, and I have 3 more plants that need to go into the ground. I really ended up with a lot of sage. A lot of work going on here. See that I've left a lot of open spaces here and there, and that's because I still have a lot of things that are going to be going in. After these have faded out, the peonies will fade out, but I love these different little islands of pink. So I want to do a lot of pink zinnias in here, and I will be replacing those peonies. I'll be planting seeds right behind those peonies so that when they're faded away, we'll still have those little islands of pink with the zinnias. So I'm just doing some planning here in different sections where I know these plants, these flowers, these blooms are not going to last forever, and so I've got to find other plants to put in their place. Now the salvias and the sages, they should be good all summer long. If I keep deadheading those sages, they'll keep on blooming. That, I'm not worried about that color throughout the summer. But there are other things. And of course, if the lavenders survive, which I'm hoping they will, if the lavenders survive, we will still have the foliage from the lavender all summer long. And all those empty spaces will be filled in by either sowing seed or putting my seedlings in that are growing in the greenhouse. So this should be very pretty. It's just a constant bit of planning and work here to get a garden bed like this established, because it seems like every year I change it. This one here, don't even look at it. Ugh, it's a mess. However, I will say this. That's because everything's already passed over and there's still a lot of this nasty weed here. I hate this grass. I think grass is probably the worst weed you can have in your garden because it is so hard to get rid of. If you have a special way of getting rid of this type of grass, and I don't even know what it's called, but it's got a very deep, nasty root, and it just winds itself around everything, and it goes very, very deep. They're hard to get out because if you even leave a tiny bit of the root, it will just come back again. So these are the worst weeds that I have in my gardens. But what's coming back, again, this will be the 3rd year, here they come, these beautiful little bellflowers, and I counted 24 of them in this bed. I did a video when I put them in a couple years ago, but we've also got pink evening primrose in here. This is the muscari that's actually really fading out now. Comes some sweet little bulbs. They'll be gone soon. But I've still got this bed in between all those bellflowers that needs something, and I don't know what kind of seed I'll sprinkle in here, but something short, because I like for the stone wall to show. I don't want anything tall that would hide that. But this bed isn't cleaned out yet. A little pocket that I filled up with some of those perennial plants that I bought the other day. And there are 5 sages in here, all the same color. The other things that grow in here will be the little purple pansies. I chopped them all the way down to the bottom. They were in those pots. They were totally overgrown and real wrangly, so I just cut them way down. Now, if you do that, that's really a good thing to do every once in a while. Cut your plant way down, because as you can see with this one, it's already putting out a lot of new leaves. So we still have a lot of growth going on for that plant. And over here in the pot is Love in a Mist, planted from seed. Little bed is right here along the walkway, going up to the front porch, as you can see, up the steps, and behind that is a really wonderful peony bed. So when those peonies open, which looks like will be pretty quickly, I'm just hoping that at the same time, some of these little, this is blue salvia, I'm hoping that blue salvia will be opening as well, and we'll have a really pretty picture right here. Here's the other side of that garden bed that runs all along the front. And we've got the Spanish bluebells that are fading out. This is more of a shady area. It's really not easy to get things growing in here. So I've got tons of daylilies, a lot of weeds up along the fence, and a plant called loosestrife, which I'm beginning to despise because it just takes over everywhere. Good thing about it, it's pretty easy to pull. Wild meadow here, and there's that loosestrife again. There's also some Dame's rocket, some alliums. There's a spirea in there. Too much lemon balm, way too much lemon balm. Be careful when you plant lemon balm. Daylilies, Siberian iris, and a couple different kinds of bushes. Beyond that is the garden we just walked through. I really like to put to use what we've got around here, and when you drop a tree and you cut it into bits and pieces, it actually makes a pretty good hedge. And that's what I like about them. As they rot away, they develop all this lichen, and sometimes they have a lot of great moss on them. Oh, look at this one. This one's super fantastic. Wow. Anyway, they do make a nice sort of a wall to wall in your garden if you don't have anything else. Here we're approaching that border, approaching that garden border from the other side. Popping up here in the corner, when you come around the bend for this garden border, is some birds, what is it? Breadseed? Breadseed poppies. And a huge allium right here, which is actually elephant garlic, but I use it for the flower head. And then we've got some David Austin roses in here and some ground roses. They are, oh, and a clematis that hasn't bloomed yet. There's a lot going on here. This is so thrilling. Don't you love to go through your garden and just see what's coming up? Even if it's tiny and it has teeny tiny buds in it, it's just starting to pop out of the ground. That's such a great experience for gardeners. We love that sort of thing. I did it again. I went into our little feed store just to get some cracked corn the other day, and believe it or not, they had all kinds of plants in there. And these plants were even better and more reasonably priced than the ones I bought at Lowe's. These came from the Fox, our little feed store. I've got 2 butterfly bushes here and more lavender. And guess what we're going to do next time, next video? We are going to try something. I want to propagate lavender from the leaves and the stems, because I've been looking up on how to do that. And instead of purchasing all these lavender plants and trying to grow it from seed, let's see if we can do it from cuttings. Let's just take a couple different ideas that I've looked at and see if we can propagate our lavender in a more resourceful way and inexpensive. Also, I had to pick up some more bee balm because I love bee balm, and like I said, the prices were just unbelievably low. So here I have more plants from a nursery that I never expected to get. These are just black-eyed Susan that I dug up from this garden bed because it's got like so many. They can go somewhere else. And here are more up-potted seedlings. So I actually got a lot done since the last video. And so happy to share it with you. The much awaited lupins are starting to open. These were planted from seed last year, and they are glorious. And we finally got some buds. We finally got some buds on our oriental poppies. Look at these beautiful purples together. Creeping phlox, spiderwort. Oh, we've got a little orangey rose coming up right here. What is the name of this? I cannot remember. David Austin rose, but what was it? Roald Dahl. That's it. Looking good, looking good. And this beautiful last of the Spanish bluebells in this little woodland garden strip. Pea supports that we made a couple weeks ago in a video just made out of tomato cages. I just wanted you to see that the peas that were planted at that same time are doing really well. They'll be climbing these supports very soon. If you want to make these rustic looking supports, go back to that video that I did in the Victorian garden video. So on the way to the greenhouse, we're passing our horse trough planter. That's what it is. It's got a lot of sweet peas going. A lot of seeds were put in here in January, so they were forget-me-nots and snapdragons, and these snapdragons really need to be thinned out. I'm going to save every one of them and put them in pot them, or put them straight into a garden. This is so weird. I don't know how these penstemons ended up in this wheelbarrow garden here. I have no idea. This is supposed to be full of strawberries, and it was supposed to be full of fritillarias, which, by the way, once again, never came up for me. I am so disappointed in that. To the greenhouse for a minute. And see what's going on, because what I wanted to show you was the progression of the Tasha Tudor batches of seeds. Okay, so the germination rate on the lupins was about 70%. I planted 35 lupin seeds from Tasha Tudor, and I think about 23 of them have germinated. Now, much better luck on the primulas over here in the middle, and the bellflowers are doing pretty darn good. They're still very tiny, but I'm not unhappy. I wanted to make mention of the fact that so many of you commented on the loss of our dog, Gabriel. Thank you so much for your kindness. And thank you so much for those of you who send me notes. I get notes and cards and messages from people, and I think it's so thoughtful of you to do that. You're usually thanking me for my videos, and that's really nice of you. It's nice to know that you appreciate them. And I read every one of them. I don't always have a chance to answer, but I just appreciate them so much. Isn't that beautiful? I think that's Colonial Williamsburg. And look at this sweet card I got the other day. The writer of the card is also the artist who did this lovely little painting right here, which is so sweet. Thank you, all of you. I certainly appreciate your kindness. Next time in Hopalong Hollow, I want to show you a few paintings that I've been working on and turned them into some very, very wonderful postcards. So, from Hopalong Hollow, this is Jerry, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.